I wanted to talk about claims making because I see a lot of this on Facebook and other places, and even the atheist community is guilty of this. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. Claims making is all about an argument that you're having and how you're having it. So claims making is sort of like who said it, why they said it, and what is the standard of quality for the claim that they're making. Claims making is all about testing your hypothesis, understanding your evidence, and presenting something that is accurate and by a non-biased source. This should be general knowledge for everyone, but apparently it's not. Even if you're making a claim about something simple, you should understand the evidence behind what it is that you're saying and be ready to present some. Wikipedia is not a quality source. It's more like a place to start, not where you want to end, and not what you really want to present in a very valid argument that you want to be taken seriously. It's more of something where you want to provide specific evidence if it is an important argument. Now, one of the first things they teach you in college is that when you're in some kind of argument, debate situation where you want to make a claim that something is true, what you need to provide for people is factual evidence. Things that are old and outdated do not count as facts or evidence anymore, especially when it comes to science. Science is a consistently updated process, and anything older than 3 years is outdated. Any scientist that you want to enter into a debate with, or even just associate with in the degree of a discussion, they're going to ask you for evidence for the claims that you're making, and those need to be current. In science, we build upon everything. So from the time that Charles Darwin discovered the various species on the Galapagos, wrote his paper on the theory of evolution, everything has kept going forward. So we now have bodies of evidence surrounding the claims he initially made. Charles Darwin and his claims, if you wanted to use those as a reference source, would be more like a starting point, but not the current data. If I wanted to show you how evolution works today, what I would show you is current field research or laboratory research, which shows the similarities in genes, experiments showing evolution trends, things like that. I wouldn't show you Charles Darwin and his book, because even though they are still accurate about his findings, what they're not is current. So they don't qualify as something that I would use as claims. When it comes to having a quality debate, rhetorical evidence is always good to look at, and that's a point I want to make. Somebody else could have always said something, but then you have to evaluate the source. Is the source credible? Can we verify the source? Do we have multiple people saying the same thing, and can they be considered credible sources? Those are all vital to a debate. When it comes to the Bible, things like that make a claim and have no evidence for it, you cannot use that as an actual argument. The reason being, no one can verify those facts. Now, you can say that there are historical facts in the Bible. Certain people may have existed. Certain cultures and timelines might be correct. But since we can't verify all of the claim, part of the claim does not verify your argument. You have to verify the entire claim. If I claim we evolved, I have to verify that entire argument. We have to have genetic similarities. We have to have body similarities. We have to have evidence that it can happen, that it has happened, that it will happen. And we have all of those things. When it comes to the Bible and Jesus have existing, and the claims about walking on water, turning water into wine, there's no proof for that. No one has that proof. And so those are claims, but they're not evidence for the claims. It's not a valid argument. These are very important things to understand, as well as emotional arguments. An appeal to emotions and just basing your argument on I feel or I think or I believe is not a valid argument. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you're right. You can feel cold, you can feel hot. Those can be perfectly normal, correct feelings. However, when it comes to I feel God, I feel like Jesus is here with me, those are not valid claims. You can in no way prove that God is real, that he is there with you, that you feel his presence. What you can prove is that you think you feel it. That's the only thing that can be proven there, because I can say, do you think you feel it? Yes, you do. I cannot disprove that claim. That's the only portion of the claim that would even be considered legitimate. But as an entire claim that you feel God, that he's there with you, it can't be verified. Faith is another one of those. It's an appeal to absurdity. You cannot verify your claim, so you're using faith. It's an appeal to ignorance, not an appeal to absurdity. I'm sorry. And it is such because you're saying that based upon no facts and no evidence, you choose to believe that something is real. And it's a very dangerous position to set yourself into, but many people do. When you want to have an argument with somebody who is intelligent and enlightened and educated, it's obviously not going to fly. People are not going to buy that your faith makes something real, because it doesn't. I can have faith that there's a purple monster that lives under my bed. And that doesn't mean the purple monster actually lives under my bed. It means that I choose to believe something even though there's no evidence for it, and I choose to be ignorant of the facts of whether it's true or not. So when you're in any kind of debate, any kind of rational discussion, you need to be ready to provide your facts and your evidence for anything. That goes for general topics, and from theists to non-theists to those who adamantly believe that something is true, including conspiracy theories. Those are not legitimized in any way. You can have a conspiracy theory, and it's been proposed to me that some of them have been found to be true. And I would say that because there was evidence and an evidence trail. If something seems absurd, if it seems overly cooked, if it seems like it's outlandish, it probably is. There are things that we can look through evidence for. We can find the facts out about, and at first they can seem like conspiracies, but they're not. They're really more tailored along the line of investigation. And ultimately we do come out with those because there is evidence for those. But if you have some idea and it can't be proven, all of the facts, all of the experts don't agree, there's no evidence for it, no one can find anything to substantiate your claim, and time goes on, you have to understand that then there's no reason to believe that this thing could be true. And once again, it goes back to a faith, a belief. You choose to ignore the facts that it probably didn't happen and that you're likely wrong over your sense of wanting to believe something. And this is where people get in trouble. There is a rhetorical evidence for almost everything that I've looked at, everything that I've found. It's good to know your opponent's argument, why they're saying it, what are the claims that they're making, and how they believe these claims came about, and if they have the appropriate evidence. And if they do, then you have to counter that argument intelligently. But unfortunately, when it comes to theists, they can't counterclaim, they can't provide evidence. I can't even explain why there's mitochondria in our cells and why we would go into cell death without mitochondria living in there. So, I think that if you want a good argument, if you want a good debate with somebody, you have to bring your best evidence and research. You have to be ready to provide facts, data that is current, and anything that's 2001, 2002, 2003 even, it's no longer considered valid. It's 2013. The farthest back I would ever go with something that I'm claiming is 2009, 2010. And even then is pushing it, because there's new research being updated just about every year, if not, every 6 months. You just don't know, because there's so much of a body of research going on over so many topics. And so it's a great idea to keep yourself updated. If you love something, if you're researching something, if you're passionate about something, make sure that you stay current on the situation with that thing, so that when you get into these situations where you're debating or you're talking, or you want to have a quality discussion with somebody who's an intellectual, you're ready to present things that are vital to that conversation. If not, there's no reason that that conversation should be taken as more than conjecture and your opinion and dismissed as such, especially when it comes to being a theist, believing in God without evidence, believing in Jesus without evidence, believing in the Bible without evidence. If the Bible was a scientific book, and no part of it is, then the Bible would be outdated by proxy, because it's so old. If there was a God and he was into all of this elaborate science, including physics, and understood the structure of the universe, he would definitely want to keep updating his book, because he would want to know that he was on the forefront of what is going on in the scientific community. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If the Bible was anything remotely written by an intelligent being, it would be full of physics and science, and it wouldn't be this archaic book about genitals and what to do with them, and how to mistreat women and minorities, and beat your slaves and stuff like that. The book is absolutely absurd. It qualifies as nothing but a claim which is sadistic, sarcastic, a bit twisted, ugly, horrible. But anyhow, so when you're making claims, any claims with anyone, make sure you provide the evidence, the right evidence. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure that you stay current on what's going on. And if you really love something, follow it, be passionate about it. But when you engage in a debate or a good conversation, bring your best effort forward, because that speaks a lot about who you are. So that's all I have for now, and take care, everyone. Have some great debates out there and enjoy it. Thanks. Bye.